Friends, why do you build community? What makes you get up every day, log into your Circle account, interact with members, answer the emails, create content, host webinars? What drives you to do those things? Well, that's the passion that you have for your community. Let's dive into this week's episode all about your community's why. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Community Lab, where passion intertwines with purpose and profit. We're not merely weaving tales of hobbies becoming side gigs here. We're about crafting endeavors that deeply resonate and reward. Whether you're creating courses, guiding lives, or kickstarting a podcast journey, let's elevate together from being zealous dreamers to standout community leaders. Explore the balance between passion and profitability as we unwrap the tools and tactics we use to create, maintain, and grow our own profitable community. So, what's our pledge to you? To guide you from mere daydreaming to creating a vision that's both successful and meaningful, fostering authentic ties and a close-knit community. If you're fueled by passion, eyeing a new prosperous path, and curious about making community a pillar of your success, the Community Lab awaits. Join us and let's turn those visions into profitable ventures. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Community Lab podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. The crucial role of understanding your why in the context of creating and nurturing a community is undeniably the secret sauce to any thriving community. If you don't know your why, then you really can't show up. You can't actually create content that's going to be consumed or engaging. And you're going to really struggle to relate with members, even when you do finally get them in the door. It's so crucial to go back to those beginning steps and really look at your why. And let's say you're a seasoned community builder at this point. It's always important to revisit that why. Make sure that you're staying on track for the plan so that you can grow and thrive and turn that passion project that you've been thinking about in the back of your head for so long into something tangible. Now, for me, when it came time for me to start to look at how I wanted to grow and expand my business, I started brainstorming with my team last summer, and it kind of became a no-brainer. Why don't I create my own community on Circle? And the Community Lab was birthed. And so from there, it really boiled down to me doing a lot of kind of soul searching and research to see how I wanted to structure my community, what type of user I wanted to show up. And I am very fortunate that I'm at a place in my life that I don't have to have 500 members in the door on day one. I'm able to really sculpt my marketing. I'm able to sculpt my messaging to make sure I'm getting my ideal client or member inside the gates. Now, I know that's not true for everyone. I feel very fortunate to be in that position, but I also get to do something I love, and that is connect people, that is to help people. And for me, that's really the basis of my why. A well-defined why is essential for engaging members on a profound level. And that's why when it comes down to that cocktail of how your community is going to be laid out, there's no right or wrong answer. But for me and for clients for the most part, we have always kind of relied on the idea of that freemium model. Let's give away some goods because I like to help. I like to give. And I was in that position where I haven't always been as fortunate as I am now in my career that I needed, those freebies. I needed a little kick in the pants. I didn't have the money to invest in myself or my business in the way I do now. And the way that I continue to grow and evolve is by I immerse myself in online courses from creators that I respect and love. I'm constantly expanding my wheelhouse and growth within my own business by attending workshops, by consuming materials on growing community, on building email marketing plans, on graphic design. I constantly am looking for what's new, what's innovative, and I thrive in that like kind of bubble. For me, when it comes down to what my why is I want to help others transform their passion projects into profit. And that was my why. And from there, it became really easy to kind of fill in the rest of the blanks. It took me a long time to get that tagline of sorts worked out. And the main reason why is that I was kind of all over the place to start. So when I first sat down and thought, well, what am I going to offer? What do I have to offer? And what am I going to offer? I think a lot of times, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is that I wanted to do too much all at once. Not that there won't constantly be change and plenty of new content to create all the time. And obviously, I'm an innovator, but at the end of the day, there becomes a point where you have to say, okay, I'm going to launch this thing. And so I spent far too much time, to be honest, laying out what the content would look like and what the space would look like. So it really helped me take a step back. I did a workshop in the fall, and on that workshop we were talking about just vision planning for the future and how we saw things for our businesses, and I started to think, "Oh, I'm just so busy content creating that I'm not putting anything out. I'm not actually asking people to listen to this podcast. I'm not actually showcasing my talents of community building. I'm not showcasing all these templates that we're building. All these things are happening in the background, and I literally am not sharing any of it. Well, it sort of defeats the purpose of the business. And so for me, it became really apparent fast that I needed to take a step back and I needed to look at my why. So I went back to a lot of that early, just journaling and notebooks of, why am I going to create this community? What's it going to be about? And then less so much, I had gotten really stuck on how I was going to make it happen that I had forgotten those components. Once I revisited those notebooks and those early thoughts as to why I was going to build the community lab, it became very clear quickly that I had just got myself off track. I was busy trying to make things perfect. I was busy content creating way too much. I was stuck. I thought I needed to have 5 courses and a full library of content before I even launched. And I didn't even think about that one of the core components was that I wanted member feedback. I wanted members to say, hey, we really need Canva templates that help us do XYZ. We really need swipe files that could help me with this. And instead, I'm busy trying to make all this stuff. And I kept pushing out when I was going to launch because I thought, oh, it just has so much on the roadmap that I had forgotten, really why I was creating this community was because I wanted to help others. And the community lab launched. But by sort of getting lost in the shuffle of the work, and I'm doing air quotes here, work, I lost my why and why I was building this. And when I found it, it was really easy for me to move forward and launch the community itself. And for a lot of you might be in that launch phase. You might be in that, am I ready to launch? Do I have all the components I need? What else do I need to do? Obviously, it can feel overwhelming, but I really implore you, go back and think about why you were building this community. When you decided you were going to do this and you were going to take on this endeavor, what made you push the go button on it? I think when you go back and you start to think about some of those things, that a lot of the clutter will fall to the side And you'll be able to see how you can easily engage members, how you can easily choose what content to create or what activities to plan. And you really will be able to make decisions that are business savvy in your community. Okay, friends, we're going to take a brief break and learn about one of my favorite community building tools, Circle. I'm sure you've already heard me mention a time or two how much I love Circle for building my online community. If you're a fellow podcast host or digital creator looking to elevate your online community, look no further because Circle is endgame. It revolutionizes the way you connect and engage with your audience. Circle offers an intuitive platform that brings together your content, conversations, and community all in one place. It's your one-stop shop for building a vibrant, interactive community that's uniquely yours. Whether you're a podcast host, course creator, or coach, Circle empowers you to create a space that's as dynamic and engaging as your content. Customized to your heart's content, from private spaces to integrative live streams, making your community both exclusive and inclusive. Transform your audience into a thriving community with Circle. Watch your engagement soar, your relationships deepen, and your brand grow. It's more than a platform. It's a community builder's dream. So, are you ready to bring your community together? Visit circle.so or the link in the show notes and start your free trial today. Welcome back, friends. Now, if you're a seasoned community builder and you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, I already know my why and I'm already there. Well, do you know your why? Ha- have you lost it along the way? Have you just developed and added? Have you pivoted so much away from your why that you don't even recognize it anymore? So I think it's important for seasoned community builders to go back and revisit it as well. If you haven't even launched your community yet, oh my, this is important. You have to brainstorm why you're building this, who it's for. You put the work in. You can't just, build it and they will come. There has to be structure. There has to be a reason for them to say, yes, I want to be part of your community, even your free community. Because I think sometimes we get lost in, oh, well, this is free, so people should want to come. Well, at the end of the day, they have to give of their time. And when time is so precious and so limited, it is for me and within my family dynamic and within my business and personal life that when I show up for something, that's because it's really important to me. And if I don't show up for something or I don't have time, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not important to me. It just didn't make the cut, I guess would be the best way of putting it. If you're still thinking and you're still wondering how you're going to discover your why, there's a few ways you can do that. And the first one is, reflect on your personal passions. And, how can that then inform your community's direction? So for me, I was really passionate about tech. I was really passionate about making graphics accessible. And that's kind of where the community lab started. I also had to look and say, well, is there a need for this? Is there a need for community builders to access help in the form of swipe files and templates and workshops and email marketing assistance? Was there a need for that and a desire? And so I thought, well, let's do some surveying. And I started doing a little surveying. And I was already building community for several clients, two really large clients using Circle. And I started checking out the Circle community, and it became really obvious quickly in their Ask the Community space that there was a need for help. There was. And not just a need for the technical side of the Circle platform itself or whatever community building, software you're utilizing. But at the end of the day, I saw that there was a really big potential for community members looking to take their community either how it was now and just say, I got to put my head down and I got to make this be something, or stewing on a new idea and ready to grow a community from it. And I thought, yeah, there's definitely potential here. And that's what really drove me because I was able to find an overlap between my passion and the needs of others. And it really helped me pinpoint my community's why. So from there, once I had put my why down on paper, I formulated my mission statement and it really encapsulates my purpose. And that was the other thing that was sort of humorous when I was sort of floundering there for a couple months last year trying to decide what to launch with was that I had created this really I feel amazing mission statement. I had even created like a freebie around it like to help others build their mission statement. I was so busy building that I wasn't showcasing that to anyone. But I'm going to read you the Community Labs mission statement. I'm really open about it. I like to put it out there to others to help them navigate and craft their own. And so I'm just going to read it to you. At the Community Lab, we're all about leveling up course creators, coaches, and podcast hosts from being rockstar hobbyists to community legends. We're in your corner, championing your journey to mesh passion with profit and ensuring you're surrounded by a community that's all about real, meaningful bonds. Let's make your passion project not just fulfilling, but also financially rewarding. And so when I went back and I was saying to myself, well, these are the things I want to do. I want to create content and products and courses that do that. I want to help others take their passion and turn it into a profitable community. And so when I revisited that and started to go through and look at the to-do list and ClickUp, it became clear really quickly what could go to the wayside, what needed to be completed, and it helped me move forward in building out the community lab itself. Now, one thing I will say when I was writing my mission statement is that I was going for something that was catchy and fun, and there was definitely those components. But one of the other things I feel really important in community building is niching down your market. And so for me, my wheelhouse are course creators. That's I work with course creators. I help them build courses. I help them build content. I help them build workbooks to go with it and slide decks and video editing and actually the mechanics of loading their courses, not just in Circle, but in other platforms. I have been working with coaches for a while to help them get through blocks and then also setting up the, back office suite that you need as a coach. What software are you going to use? How are you going to send contracts and workflows and all of those things? And last but not least, podcast hosts. I've been doing podcast editing for a while, and my company now produces 3 podcasts. And I'm going to say this because I wish that I could have learned it a long time ago. It's okay to say no to business. I'm 45 years old now, and there was a time where it felt like I couldn't say no to business. That if I said no, then what might happen is that I would maybe miss out on income. And when you're at a place where you need the income, I was a single parent and I've always been a people pleaser. It's another attribute to my personality is that I would take on things that maybe that weren't a good fit for me. Could I do them? Yes. But was that client a good fit for me? No. And that's one of the reasons why it's really important to sit down and do some of this work on what your why is and who your ideal client is. And for me, again, it's course creators, coaches, and podcast hosts because those are my people. That's the pool I swim in. So if you haven't already gathered, I want you to spend a little bit of time working on your why. Why are your community members in your community now? Why do they show up the way they do? And do you want that to change? If you have a community already and you really want to know why you're not getting the engagement that you want, it's time to look at why. Why are you not getting the engagement that you want? Are you not asking for it? Do they not match the demographic that you're looking for? You got to go back to the why you created this community because it gives you the answers to everything else. So if you go back to the why, it really lets you know what kind of content you should be putting out because that's the content that attracts your ideal person. And that ideal person will engage in the way that you want them to. And once you figure out that secret sauce to the why of your community, you'll have the strong core to build off of. Okay, friends. Thanks so much for coming by and listening this week. We will see you next week. If you're not already a member of the Community Lab, I highly recommend joining. It is free. There's links in the show notes here to get you started, and I hope to see you inside the community. Bye, friends.